Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I want to talk about Colt Eastwood just made a new video. Now I know that we share a lot of the same followers. So what I'm about to say, guys, I want you to take into consideration that I do like Colt Eastwood. I think he's a great influence for Xbox, and I do think that he has built a strong platform, being in favor of Xbox, and I greatly respect him for that. I've only been here on YouTube for a couple of years. I was a full blown PlayStation fanboy before I started representing, or at least taking Xbox seriously to a point where I'm like, yeah, this thing is pretty great. I've played some amazing games on Xbox over this past 6 years. I played some great games. When I was a PlayStation fan, uh, I was starting to get into that whole weekend warrior thing, man. I was getting pretty to the point where I was like, man, I just got to have a quality game. I got to have quality. I can't play mid trash games. I watch a lot of Digital Foundry, and if it wasn't 4K, I wouldn't even buy the game. I cheated myself a lot, and since I've started this channel, I have 100% went into every single game that I've picked up with an open mind, and I've played that. I've made some predictions on this channel over a while, but I've also tried to maintain a lower level of overhyping the community so that I can avoid having to make videos like Colt Eastwood just made today, coming out, in an angry tone, calling out Xbox after they literally flew him out to play Redfall, and then he came back and he was talking about how great the game was and everything else. I would have respected Colt more if he would have stood his ground, because I've played 5 hours of Redfall. I don't think it's a trash game. I don't think it's a top of the line game, but I don't think it deserves the hate that it's getting. So I mean, when he comes out and he trashes Xbox just because all the other YouTubers and everybody else is out there spreading all that negativity, I would have liked to have seen Colt Eastwood stand his ground. I would have loved to have seen him stand his ground, because I don't think Redfall's a terrible game. It definitely needs a 60 FPS patch, and it would be better. There's some other small optimizations that it can make. It's definitely better than a lot of the average stuff that I've played, like Saints Row, any of that kind of stuff. It's definitely better than that. But at the same time, it does lack promised features that channels like Cold Eastwood and other channels have like overly hyped this whole generation, and then I mean, even I have called out PlayStation for like the 1.5, RDNA 2, all of that stuff, and like totally hyped up this RDNA 2 stuff as well. I mean, like, I didn't overhype it, but not as much as some of the other guys. But I mean, I'm guilty of a lot of it too. And I've come to this realization that I'm going to go live tonight and we're going to talk about this, because this is the new way forward, the way that I think about Xbox. And I've been sitting here at work, kind of thinking about this stuff, because, I work basically alone, and I get a lot of time to think to myself. And my ADD just keeps going, and I don't stop thinking. But I made a little video earlier talking about how you're going to see a lot more low budget and mid range budget games for Xbox Game Pass, and that's true. You have to look at Xbox platform Game Pass as something like Netflix. When Netflix first started out, they just had a whole bunch of third party game or movies. They just had access to a lot of movies. They would rent them out, stuff like that. They would stream them. You know what I mean? Like, they would stream that. But then as they grew, they started making their own content. And you'll see over time, you'll see like these series come out on Netflix, and they'll do really good, and they'll keep getting more of that. The budgets will grow. They'll keep getting bigger. But then you'll also have ones that will come out, and they'll do like a season or 2 seasons, and then they just drop them because nobody watches them. Nobody cares. They're not getting the ratings that they were supposed to get. Now, for video games, in a way, you could be like, "Oh man, that sucks," because I want everything first party from Xbox to be a 250 million dollar budget, AAA budget, with all that. That's just not how it works. That's not how it works. If Xbox was to give every single one of their developers, their new developers, that type of a budget, that would be unsustainable. That is the same thing that PlayStation is facing right now with the push for quality, is the sustainability of doing that. If one of them PlayStation games flops, that's a heavy hit. You had Days Gone, one of those games. A lot of people liked it, think they should have made a second game. It didn't hit that mark, so PlayStation cut its ties with it. That's how PlayStation is able to continue to pump out quality games one after another, is because they put the money toward the projects that are going to sell better. And that's what Xbox is doing. A lot of people are out there, making little Colteastwood videos about how Xbox needs to do this and that and that. We saw firsthand after Halo Infinite, we saw 343 get completely restructured, pretty much from the ground up. They cut all the fat, they restructured that, they turned that out. They're going to make that a lean machine that's going to be able to do Halo and do Halo good. Now, we'll see. We'll see. They cut off a lot of, the extra bloated budget because it didn't do well enough. And then in real time, you saw Tango Gameworks put out Hi-Fi Rush, and then was rewarded with being able to expand their studio and get more. So every time a game comes out on Game Pass, like Redfall, a game will come out on Game Pass. If it does well, then that studio will get more money. They'll get more funding. They'll get better. And that will help these studios compete. Now, you do have some games that are 100% getting a AAA budget no matter what. Starfield, no matter what, that is getting a AAA budget. Hellblade 2, no matter what, that one's getting a AAA budget. You can already tell. Forza Motorsport, 100% getting a AAA budget. Whatever the Coalition's working on, 100% getting a AAA budget. Now, these games are going to come out, but there's other games that are out there being developed right now. From Obsidian, you had. Think about it. You have the Grounded. Grounded is probably. I think they said that was a low budget game. That was a low budget game. They put it out there. It did amazing. It did good. It's doing well. It's fun to play. Sea of Thieves out there started off as a low budget experiment, and you've seen that game blossom. You are going to see these games from Xbox created in a way that is going to be sustainable going forward. Xbox knows what they're doing, guys. Like, I don't understand all the nonsense idiocy that goes on the internet these days. When everybody just feeds into this negativity and they're like, oh my gosh, they had this game and it's bad, and doom and gloom for Xbox because of the Activision and whatever else. They have a plan. They have a long-term plan. It's going to take time for these studios at Xbox to grow into what PlayStation first-party studios are. And it is. And we're seeing these things happen in real time. But all we can think about is Redfall. It didn't have 60 FPS. I already made my videos on that. I already told you guys before it like clicked in my head about the whole Netflix thing. Before it clicked, I already made that video. I came out right after they announced that, and I said, look, sitting right here, I said, look, if they drop this game at 30 frames per second, it's going to be DOA. It's going to get hate. It's going to get destroyed. The media is going to destroy it. Everybody's going to destroy it. Look what happened, man. Look what happened. I could already see this coming a mile away, that this was going to happen. So, yeah, I do have a lot of respect for Colt Eastwood, but I do kind of question now if he's just like out there doing this to save face or what. I would have much rather him stood his ground and been like, yeah, dude, Redfall's not perfect, but it's playable, because it is. I played it. I don't hate the game, but I didn't love it anyway either. I didn't fall in love with it. I played it for 5 hours. Once it gets a patch, maybe I'll go back to it. But you guys have been here for this channel for a while, dude. Normally, if I can't get into a game really quick, sometimes it goes on the back burner and it just never comes back out. It just like time constraints, man. Like, I got to make content, I got to work, I got other things that I have to worry about, and that sucks, man. Because I wanted Redfall to be a good game, but I don't feel like playing it in an unfinished state. I want it to be finished so that I can enjoy that experience. So we've got plenty more games coming out, guys. There's plenty more stuff from Xbox coming this year. This is a bump in the road. It does, like I've said in the channel before, optics do matter. They do things to people that make people like wild and crazy. You got people selling their Xboxes and talking about selling their Xboxes and all of that stuff. And I've always tried to just I've always just tried on this channel to help set expectations for what we can expect. And like I don't look at Xbox as like this 100% competition for PlayStation, guys. Like I don't. I've been a PlayStation fan for a very long time. I know exactly what they're capable of and what they make, and I love what they make. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that PlayStation's trash and you should buy an Xbox. I would never say that. I've always told you should have both on this channel. Always told you that. But we need to keep our expectations for Xbox in check and realize that this new Game Pass model is going to be more centered around what Netflix is. The better something does on Netflix, the more money gets thrown at it. The better things do on Game Pass, the more money that will be thrown at it. They do not have... it doesn't make sense for Xbox to go out there and buy exclusive third-party games and put them on Game Pass and make them exclusive, because that just costs way too much money when they can just build the stuff from the ground up, you know, like nurture their own studios with that money instead of just going out there and money hat and everything. So I don't know. I mean, like that argument, like, yeah, I would like to see them, you know, do a little bit of money hatting, but not enough to where, because think about it, our expectations on Xbox as Xbox gamers, if they go out and they money hat a game, we 100% expect that game to come straight to Game Pass. Should Xbox go out there and money hat third-party games and make them exclusive to Xbox, but only for people to buy them? No, dude, that's not like anybody coming up with that argument is just not really seeing things or thinking about things the way like realistically. Like realistically, if they money hat a third-party game, our expectation is that game coming to, if they make it exclusive, our expectation is that game coming to Game Pass. That's our expectation. So, no, money had them to get them into Game Pass and still let them launch everywhere else. Yeah, you got to understand like the big picture of all of this for it to really make sense. So, all right, my friends, I still got a little bit more time on my lunch, but I'm going to go ahead and launch this video. I plan on going live later tonight. So, if you guys if you guys like what I said in this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and then show up to tonight's live, and we'll go over this more. We'll discuss this in more detail, and we'll talk about it. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.